This is question 1 of my evaluation. In what ways does your media product use, develop, or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? First of all, I'm going to talk about my poster. I've created my poster so that it is portrait, as this makes it easier to be advertised in magazines as well as tube stations. This will promote my film and make it more noticeable to the general public. In the magazine and in the tube, there are posters everywhere for movies, and we subconsciously take them in. And I think that having the poster for my film being in one of these advertising spots will really help Reasons Beyond Insanity get well known. First of all, I'm going to talk about the general codes and conventions of a movie poster. So usually there is a strap line, as you can see here on the Dark Knight poster. It says "Welcome to a World Without Rules," and on the other one it's "From Gentle to Mental." This helps kind of give an idea of what the film's about and the kind of story it wants to tell. There's usually also the main actors' names put on the poster. So for the Jim Carrey one, it's really big at the top. If it's a well-known actor, that will kind of usually draw people in to see the film more because they recognise them and they think, oh, they're a great actor, I want to go see their film. You'll also see that with The Dark Knight, they've included quite a lot of their cast. They've got quite a lot of big names in their film. So they've got kind of like a list at the bottom of the poster. There's also usually a release date. So as you can see, it's June 23rd for the Jim Carrey film and July 18th for The Dark Knight. And this is really important because it informs the reader or the audience like when the film's going to come out so they can go and see it. Finally, there's usually critic quotes, but there aren't any here on these posters, but that's usually a code and convention of a movie poster. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the codes and conventions of a psychological thriller poster for a film. The picture for the poster of a psychological thriller film usually has a portrait of the protagonist and them looking directly into the camera in a certain way that tells the audience there is something slightly wrong. As you can see for the Black Swan poster, there's a crack along her face, which shows how fragile she is and there's something broken inside of her. Also, for the Mr. Brooks poster, he is holding a part of the image and removing some of it from his face. And underneath you can kind of see his face, but in red light, which kind of suggests there's some kind of anger behind this nice guy facade that's kind of like bubbling up inside of him. This suggests that there's something darker going on behind these characters and suggests their instability and their mental fragility. There's usually also quite a dark colour scheme to reflect the darkness of the film. Black and white is often used to show depression and the bleak atmosphere of the movie, which they've kind of done with all of these posters. They're very dark and the saturation's very low. So as we're going to talk about my poster and how I conformed and subverted these codes and conventions. So I kind of followed the basic codes and conventions that I mentioned earlier. I have the main actors' names at the top of the poster, and there is a critic quote in the middle of the poster at the top. I feel that placing the quote there brings more attention to it, and it's not overcrowding the space. I have followed Black Swan's poster by having only one quote, as it is not too overwhelming for the audience to have lots of writing filling up the space. However, I have subverted conventions by not having any taglines for my poster. I did this in the first draft of it and it was too overbearing and took up a lot of space on the page. It also kind of ruined the overall feel, and I decided it would look more spooky and eerie without too much writing covering the picture and all over the place. I feel I've conformed to codes and conventions of a psychological thriller movie poster by having the protagonist facing the camera, eyes into the lens with like loads of shadows over her face. These shadows kind of suggest that there's a darker side to her. And so I feel strongly conveys that there's something wrong with her and that she's slightly unstable. Another way in which I'd subverted the codes and conventions is by not having the release date of the film on the poster as it took up too much space, and again I just wanted to have it like really clean, quite similar to this Black Swan poster. I've also used bold fonts and a dark colour scheme.